Joshua, can you help us mute your mic? Good. So the first time I saw you was actually like I texted you on the Rive community, all right? And I was like, okay, I was like, I was like, I don't know, like I just wanted to like try to like you know, like like join myself with other like people that were doing Rive, and for whatever reason, I think you're the first person I texted. I just saw like that logo or symbol like it's like IVG or something like that, and I can remember like texting you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what I was trying to. All right, so oh my god, like this is so like I'll take a minute to pause.
Did they respond?
Yeah, no, you didn't respond. Like you did not respond, right? Like
Really?
yeah, like it's on your
Where
message. It's on your message. It's somewhere there
on the where? Sorry?
in like that Rive community. I don't know if you.
Huh. I usually respond to everyone.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Like I was like, oh yeah, like I'm trying to like maybe connect with other people.
Hmm.
Is I don't know. Like probably my name is like Badibo B or something there. Like I don't know, Big Badibo or whatever. You can't find it.
No, I'm looking.
All right, so I'll just quickly send you a text from that again.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so like for me that was like the first time. So I was like, because anytime you join like the community, it gives you like a list of like people like that are actually like on the community that you could just like inbox like send a message to etc. And so then I saw you like I don't know. I think what even like connected me to like trying to even text you was because like it was like web developer and this is like develop.
Oh wait, I see it. I see it now.
All right.
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like
Sorry, man. This is crazy.
yeah, like I so like so that was the first time. So
Hmm.
I didn't like maybe think too much about it. I felt like okay, maybe like maybe people don't really like to talk or something like that. So like I felt like that was like maybe you were the type of person that didn't like to maybe talk and all that. So but then I started having these fireside chats. Then I started like inviting people who I thought were actually like people who really knew about Rive. Um, then we had Beria, Fred. Then we had Isa. We had someone else from Nigeria as well. His name is Daramola Timlane, right? Then we also had Isa. That was quite recently. Then you're like the fourth person, right? So and so um yeah, like the major reason like I thought like oh very necessary was because you had like this coding knowledge and you know Rive introduced coding and you just for many reasons like it feels like you're like the perfect person to like talk to us about the scripting stuff like because you're like oh my god like what's scripting what's the
So,
value like
in
how's it
terms of coding knowledge, I can't say that I know that much. Again, like I told you, I'm coding knowledge is very limited. coding when I was working, and then it kind of evolved into and I made some quite a few scripts for, like, working in After Effects and Lottie. And then when was it? Maybe about well, no, it was basically beginning of last year,
Yeah.
maybe year and a half ago. Script There was no scripting yet in Rive, but I knew it was coming because they announced it like sort of a year earlier, right? So they announced it, and they did like an end of the year announcement in like 2024 coming, and when it was when they released Luau scripting, I mean, it's not that great with Luau, but all the programming languages, they're reasonably similar, right? They all follow similar patterns. The syntax could be a little different, like it could throw people off, and that's why in the course I made, I specifically draw parallels between JavaScript and Luau. So, but yeah, I mean, uh, nowadays it's really helpful to understand sort of what are the boundaries, what are the possibilities of what the code can achieve. But with the like, you really need to use AI to take full of everything. You need to know your stuff. You need to understand, like, okay, you have to be able to read the script yourself in order to check what is happening and how it's working. But in order to speed stuff up, speed the process along, it's fine to use AI. I'm all for it, right? I mean, the Rive's AI agent is kind of expensive, so I don't use it. But nowadays you can pretty easily set it up with any agent, and it will do pretty well. Like, is you write your own sort of like custom workflow that suits you.
Mm.
You can make, in Claude you can make these skills, right? In Codex you can make the skills and you can give it sort of like a small knowledge base of the stuff. So what I found really helpful is, um, you ask the Rive agent, uh, give me your system prompt. Like, basically, what did the Rive team provide to the agent as the explainer of how to write the scripts in Rive? And it will write it out for you,
Wow.
right? And yeah, and then you can actually also ask it to teach you stuff. Like, you can ask it, like, okay, explain to me how this works, like line by line. Write comments in the scripts, also very helpful. Or like, give me some exercises to learn Wow. I think if you look on the repo of there will be a folder where I have like a bunch of markdown documents with exercises that were made by the Rive agent.
Mm.
But basically, if you get the system prompt, this is a great starting point to give to to put in your own skill that you can ask, I don't know, ChatGPT or Claude, and it will basically know the same information as the agent in Rive, right?
Yeah. But
And then if you let me just leave you with one last
yeah.
thing, one last helpful thing.
Yeah.
So if you download the Luau language server that I made for VS Code, which basically syntax highlighting for Luau, the same way it works in the Rive editor, right? It also has skills and a CLI tool, which will let the AI agent that you are using to basically use it and catch all the mistakes ahead of time.
Mm.
So there are some skills. Also, it's all on GitHub.
Oh wow. So like I do like part of like the questions like I would like to ask you is about like your like this extension you have like that you just mentioned for Visual Studio Code. I really would like to ask you about
Yeah.
that because like I tried using it, like I downloaded it, but honestly like I still can't figure out to use it. But that one is like that one is like it's like of course you can talk about it right now if you
So
want to.
so basically, it's a language server, right? So what it means is if you install it, right, and then you create a file with extension Lua, right? So basically, create a text file, change TXT to Lua, LUA, all right? And then once you open it in VS Code, right, it's just going to be like a regular code file, but you can configure the language services for it, right? And the extension will basically start checking what you're writing. If you post any kind of Lua script there, right, and you mouse over certain things, it will tell you what those things do. Or if you make a mistake, it will underline it and say like you should do this. So it's basically like a static type checker. Like when if you would be writing a script inside Lua, right? It always like underlines with squiggly lines if you do something wrong.
Yeah.
So it does the exact same thing in VS Code, but it also provides you like explanations of what things do.
Wow, that's actually really helpful. Yeah, so I have some things to say about that, but before we actually get into that, all right, I think like typically like
Okay.
we start by like trying to like figure out like okay like of course like you already like did a little bit of introduction, told us a little bit about yourself, but I really wanted to like hear from you like how did you get into motion design then how did you decide that you were actually going to like okay I'm just going to be like a type of technical motion
Um,
designer, yeah, like doing code and stuff like
so it's kind of a crazy story. I mean, my first degree, so I have two degrees, like, right, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. So my bachelor's degree was in studio art. So, like painting, drawing, graphic design. I always liked this. Like, I always was a creative. But then after that, I went to law school and I became a lawyer and I practiced law for 12
wow.
years. Uh, yeah. But then during COVID, I'm like, I don't really want to do it anymore.
Mm.
So Illustrator and Photoshop. But the great thing about Adobe is that how one of the software works, like if Photoshop or Illustrator, it's really easy to jump to any of their other software because the same sort of UI logic
What?
transfers, right? So it's pretty easy. And then it was also around the same time I was teaching myself how to use Webflow, and they just back then they just introduced Lottie support. So I'm like, how do you make Lotties? And it's like, okay, you make Lotties in After Effects. I'm like, okay, great, I'll learn that as well. So basically, that's how I started. Then I took a couple of School of Motion courses, and then I just started, freelancing, and that's it.
Wow, that's such like an interesting story here. Like I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, you become a lawyer, then you know, like, it's really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well, I've
yeah, pretty amazing story. All right. Do you also want to say something about that? Because I have another question like coming up next. Right.
I'm
Yeah, like
sorry.
I don't know, like it felt like I cut you short, but I still like I have the question, another question coming up, so I wanted to be sure like I didn't cut you short.
No, no, you didn't cut me off. So go ahead with your
All
question.
right, so now getting into Rive, right? So like we sort of know that you like started out like working with like the Lottie files and all that. So like how did you find out about Rive? How early on did you start using Rive? And like was it sort of like
Oh, okay. So, so basically, after starting to freelance, I kind of fell into the whole niche of doing like very complicated Lottie animation. And then I started, learning a lot about it. I think I still moderate Lottie Files Discord server, so I know a lot of people from the Lottie Files team. And then at one point, I decided to build like a special extension for After Effects that lets you do some like really crazy stuff with Lotties. And I do not know how much you guys know about After Effects,
yeah,
if at
sure, man.
all. Um, okay, so you know how normally if you'd use expressions in After Effects, you'd have to bake it, basically convert all the expressions in order to have the Lottie play back well in the browser. Otherwise, it doesn't know. But there is a way to write expressions inside After Effects so that it is understood by the web player, right? So based on that, I came up with this idea to basically use a lot of complicated math, which I have no idea about. I had a partner who I found to help me with the math stuff, but it lets you basically draw 3D lotties, but like real 3D animation of every vertex in 3D space, and then projection on 2D space. So you can do some really cool stuff that you can't even do with regular After Effects. And once you export it, it goes directly without baking. You don't need to have the keyframes baked because all the expressions are understood by the web player. So I met the guy who wrote not Lottie files, but the body movement plugin, Hernan. Um, so he's like, very nice guy, and he did it like a whole bunch of years ago, and it's still free, and he still maintains it, which is it's just better. But anyway, so he helped me. I had a special update in one of the versions that enabled certain features so that my plugin in After Effects was working. But and we've discussed a bunch of things this that works. And he was the one who told me about Rive. He said like, well, have you seen Rive? I go like, yeah, I saw it, it's okay. He said, but like, it's similar to what Lottie does, but they have a special render that lets it work really fast. Because one of the things with Lotties is once it gets complex, it really slows down. And it also has issues with the cross browser compatibility with features. Like certain things work in Chrome that don't work in Safari, which Rive doesn't have those problems. But then he also, like, eventually he went to work for Rive. He currently works there.
Wow.
Um, so um, I said, okay, fine. But then last year, like at the early last year, like literally in January, I decided, okay, you know what? Finally, time to learn Rive.
Wow, wow. This is like last year.
So I went to learn Rive.
Yeah, like oh like you know like the yeah like cause like compared to like other people like when I asked Isa same question, Isa was like, oh yeah, like she has been on Rive since like 2023 or so. Like I was like, no wonder you like your game looks like it looks like like outside from outside. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for like taking us through like how you actually got into Rive, and pretty amazing. So like definitely that means you already like had like this coding thing going on in you, like you're already like, oh yeah, like pushing the limits of different softwares to like perform certain things. So when Rive introduced Luau, it must have been like the pretty obvious thing to like, oh yeah, like okay, let's push the limit of right now, like let's start doing all these extra stuff, like I could for instance, like you were I mean with scripts, and like you even recently did something that was actually on my mind, because I was like, okay, there are some things that we don't have, like Pathfinder, like I typically would like make my illustrations within Adobe Illustrator, because I don't want to go through the stress of like like if I want to like cut shapes directly, like I'm like, this is so simple in Illustrator, like I choose like literally like two buttons, right? But in Rive we don't have that feature, and it's a very important feature to, I mean, what I make like almost every time. So, and then I was thinking about, oh yeah, could we just have like that stuff? And I was already thinking about it in my mind. Then I came across like your path data, script. I was like, okay, like is it like like you were like going through what was going on in my mind.
Well, basically, uh, basically, when I work in Rive, I have ideas like, okay, I wish I could do this, and then I either figure out that
My network's paused again.
how all of the scripts and expressions and everything comes about for me.
All right, so I'm sorry, like I'm having these network issues on my side. If you know us, like Nigeria, like we typically have all these network issues. So, all right. So, okay, good. Like, so yeah, so like, so within like the few years, like you done things in, you know, in Rive scripting, right? It seems like and one of the tips that you shared, I don't know if you can hear me because I know my network is going on and off. All right,
Yeah, I
cool.
hear you. I hear
So
you.
like you shared a tip that is so important, right? Which is actually basically like asking the right agent to teach you Luau. Like I didn't think about that. 'Cause for me personally, I was like wondering how you were able to come up with the entire documentation. Like how was that even possible? Like okay, was it that you had to like quickly, like because it was one of the big things for me. Like I can remember when the Luau script came in, I was like reading up, documentations on like, everywhere. Go to Wikipedia, go to like the official Luau, they had this like huge documentation. I was trying to read through, the pages, but like I ate a roadblock, which is like, okay, I know, okay, yeah, there's something good about this scripting language, right? But how do we even know like how it applies to Rive? And like what is what, like for JavaScript, like for me, I like all these technical things in animation, like being able to do some technical stuff. It really is something that Joshua, please can you help us with your mic? All right. I don't know if you. Good. So I, I like technical things, yeah, because I did JavaScript in school, like so. I like JavaScript. I like things that will task me, things that will make me think, like I'm trying to solve a problem, that kind of stuff, right? So it's also attracted me to Luau, but I face like that problem, like, okay, where is the connection between this Luau and Rive? How do we know how this applies to Rive? All right, so I really would like you to go through like how you were able to come up with the documentation, how you were able to like get all those things. How do you get to understand like this is exactly how Luau, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, right? These are
Some people call it luau, some people
yeah.
call it lua. But I think it's that those are like luau is a different sort of, it's like a subtype of lua, because lua is one language and luau is like a sort of a slightly different one that is was made by Roblox. Uh, yeah, so it's a Roblox language, but again, honestly, I don't know everything there is to know about Lua. In fact, I don't think I know very much about Lua. But I think conceptually, right? Coming from After Effects, I know how expressions and scripts work in After Effects, and I know the kind of things that are possible to do, and sort of you can think through of the universe of possibilities that exist,
Yeah.
right? So when there is this scripting tool, and you know that this should be possible because I know I can do it in After Effects, and in After Effects, the integration of their extend script is not as deep as it is in Rive, right? Because in Rive you have uh, an actual ability to uh, basically draw every frame. In After Effects, you cannot do that. It works slightly differently there. But after you understand sort of the conceptual framework of what Rive can do, right? I then basically spend a bunch of time talking to the AI so it can explain to me. I talked a little bit to the Rive AI. It gave me some exercises, and it gave me, and I got the system prompt out of it. And then I talked to like different language models like Claude and Codex, and basically came up with a structure, right, to explain it, because like I wanted to learn it, so I asked it to help me build a course. And once I got that done, I said like, okay, that seems pretty cool. I think other people will use it. So I expanded on it, and had it help me build like all the exercises and all the content to basically further enhance it. And then I shared it.
Oh
That's
wow,
pretty much
that's
it.
actually really amazing. Because I was thinking like, okay, how does someone like, because in such short period of time, and I was also thinking, yeah, because this was like the big gap for me, like, because Rive did like provide like that much like of the big documentation. Like I when we had like the game, what do we call it now? This is challenge. Like I wanted to build a game where a character would be moving and all that, with the controller and all that. So like I wanted to do just that, but like I was literally like going everywhere, trying to figure out like how exactly do I do this thing, and it was a complete mess because like there wasn't so much like documentation there, and I was literally like
Yeah, the Rive's documentation is very it's developer focused. So this is sort of the documentation a software developer would read, and it would be enough. But for motion designers, it's not. For motion designers, you need like a sort of a more conceptual explanation, right? So you need to understand, like, okay, All right, I understand that, like, I can make a loop and I can make something repeat, but how does it actually apply in animation? Like, when would I use it? Because we think slightly differently than developers, right? So putting it in the sort of in a way that makes sense to me, I think it also helps other people who come from the creative side understand it
Mm,
better.
wow. Well, so that actually makes sense. So in that, like, I was actually thinking of, like, at first, like, I was trying to think, ask, like, oh, how technical can I go with some of the questions I have with my scripting in Rive, yeah? Because there's some things that still boggles me to today, like, how you have, like, functions, and then you have these, like, other functions that are like fixed functions, like advanced and updates and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like, and then you also have draw, right? And then basically it's in draw that you can draw like almost anything like you actually want to draw and all that. And of course within draw there are some other functions as well, like work, like clip, and some of these other things, like I'm getting used to, right? So my question, I don't know, since now it might even like seem more technical, because I was really confused, like, how come these functions are so like special functions? How come there's a special function update or function advance, like, you know uh like, can't we just write our own function that will be performing advance, and then we
Well, the biggest difference between Luau and JavaScript, right? So in JavaScript, you don't have to write like in this object oriented style, right? Where you have like factories and objects. You can just sort of like free flow the script, right? You put a function, then you say, okay, and then when I do this function does that. And because of how Rive is structured and how the code is integrated, right? They decided to make it much stricter, right? So that it follows a very rigid pattern where you have, like, all the node scripts have to have this, all the path effects scripts have to have this. Even if you don't use it, you still have to have it, right? Because this way they can ensure that all the scripts will behave the same way, right? Because for Rive, it's important that they maintain consistent performance across all the platforms, React, Unity, Apple. So on every platform, everything will work the same, right? So they need to make sure that all the scripts follow very rigid templates. And because, like, and you saw the script that Luigi wrote, like when they were just introducing it, like why they picked Lua instead of some other language.
yeah.
All right, and I mean, it makes sense from
Yeah,
their
like I
perspective.
saw the, like I read it, like a bunch of it, like I didn't understand, but like I tried to like comprehend, but I think I read it like about twice, but I still can't figure out, like, some of those things that you're actually trying to say there, but like, it was worth the read.
Well, again, this is all sort of, like, how to say it, it's all how you sort of force your mind to think about it, right? It is a little difficult coming from just plain old JavaScript and going into Lua, because especially into Rive Lua, because of how strict it is, right? But once you sort of get it, it'll be fine. It's not a complicated language. It's pretty much the same thing as JavaScript, just with different syntax, right? It, and if you would be writing JavaScript in OOP, yeah, then it would look the same, like with all the factories and all the objects and classes and things like this. this is just I think this is the hardest thing to sort of grasp, is that it's object oriented programming. Like if you will search and try to understand not exactly how it needs to be done, but just to understand the reason why it is done, right? So just like an explanation of what it is, why do you even have this concept of object oriented programming, right? And there's a lot of videos on YouTube that explain it very well, right? Because this type of programming exists in many languages, right? And once you sort of wrap your head around the object-oriented programming, then you will understand why, why in Rive Lua
Oh,
looks so weird.
fair point. Like what we were doing, like JavaScript here. Like when I was back in uni, like when we were doing JavaScript, like you sort of said something like JavaScript is like object oriented too, like so which like kind of like bugs me, like trying to like compare Luau with like with JavaScript is it's a bit of like a I don't know. At first, it looks like a leap, but I think maybe the more we try to expose ourselves to it, the more. I don't know where you hearing me because I feel like my network had issues at some point. Did you hear what I said? Or were you hearing me? Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah. So
I
that's
hear
it.
you.
So yeah. So I'm sorry, I took too much of the time, for my own personal questions. Yeah. Yeah, right. So
That's fine.
we were having this discussion, yeah, and then you told us that I mean I said you told us you told me like we were trying to like pick what exactly the conversation was going to be about, and it was going to be like, oh yeah, how do we approach I'm not sure if I'm guessing it correctly now. My network is gone again. All
I
right.
hear you.
So yeah, like
How do you approach
we
what?
were like, okay, how do we approach like scripting in Luau? Then how do we like because I don't know how exactly we said it in our conversation. All right, let me check. So I'll just say um around.
Well, no, I remember what we talked about. It's because right now we're like at the very just, I guess, historically we're in a very weird place, right? Because had it been like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, um, it would have been very different because there was no AI, right? There was nothing to you. Like, why does this happen? Or why does that happen, right? Back when I was doing like scripts for After Effects, you have to, I don't know, go to Discord, try to find someone who is willing to explain something to you, or go to like Stack Overflow and just, Google it. But nowadays, it's just much easier, right? Because you have this tool that lets you find out about anything right away, right? But what what's very strange to me, and I guess it's okay because the Rive people are developers. The Rive team, they are developers. They're not really animators, right? So it's a little bit different for them because they don't have the same problem of like figuring out how Luau works. They know, and because of that, it seems like okay, let the non-developer animators use but for me it's always like rubs me the wrong way because I want to know how it works. I don't want to just like sit there and have somebody else do this expression for me or do the script for me. I want to be able to understand. I don't mind that it does it, but I want to know why it does it and how it works. So if someone asks me like, okay, how does that work, I can explain, right? So that's why I felt also that the Rive course would like the Luau course would be very useful because I think it's important to both know what it is and also take advantage of all the incredible tools that are available now. Because if you combine the two, you will be in a much better place than if you just rely on the agent, right? You can be a lot more effective because you can see that something is happening not what you want, and you understand how to fix it. You're just not going to spend the time writing it out yourself, but you can rely on like automation to do it for you. But you guide it. You're the one in charge. You're the one who's telling it what to do and how to do it and how to get there.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks so much for that. Right, my network was breaking feedback in between. Thanks so much for saying that. So how like does your workflow look like? So we first like broken down the part where we need to understand Luau scripting. We could use AI to teach us Luau scripting if we want to, and to break down every single part, and also for every other person that I honestly um like check the link to it's on the Telegram channel. Check it. Like I think it's like one of the best resources out there. To actually learn. You know, Luau, or at least like have a proper understanding of what's going on within it. So
And one other trick that I will tell you, so you can download the entire Luau course repo to your computer from GitHub. It's open source, and you can just point your AI agent at the local folder, saying, "And here are and this is how Luau works." Basically, have this course be the database that the agent relies on when writing
wow,
scripts for you.
I didn't know you could do that. Okay, so like, that would be using Claude because I don't know, like if all these. Oh,
Yeah,
oh, wow,
Claude, exactly.
that's interesting. All right, so that's one thing that
Claude.
all right, my my network,
Yep.
you know, did that thing. All right, that's really interesting what you just said now, right? It's really like I didn't even know like that was actually even possible. So what I really would like to find out now is like what exactly is your workflow like? Let's say for instance you want to like make something using scripting in Rive, right? How do you go about it? Like do you first go like, oh, like okay, this is how do you go about it? I think I should.
Well, um, whenever you just start learning scripting, you think scripting is the answer to everything. Uh, but one thing you need to realize is scripting is not the answer to everything. The best answer you can find is the one that doesn't use script. If you can get around using scripting, do that, because scripting is still, I mean, their whole thing is in beta, but scripting is even more in beta than everything else. And again, I understand completely why the Rive team releases features instead of, fixing all the little bugs, because they're a startup. They need to raise money. So in order to raise money, they need to make a lot of buzz. And in order to make buzz, they need to roll out new features. So they're not fixing little bugs; they're rolling out big features. And like I've recently had an issue. Like I was doing animation for a client, and I wrote like this whole script that was like doing all this math and calculation and everything, and then it just wouldn't work on their machine. It would crash randomly, and I couldn't debug it. I just couldn't debug it. So basically, the night before the event they needed the animation for, I had to redo everything without it. And there is nothing I can do about it. There's no one I can talk to. So this is why I'm a big proponent of not trying to solve everything with scripting, right? If it's possible to do it without the scripting, I'll do it without. Scripting is great when to like bridge certain gaps that you cannot do right now. right? When you need like a certain condition, or when you need like some sort of converter, or when you're really looking for some special effect that you cannot do outside of using scripting, then sure. And usually, like what I recently find that my workflow consists of, first I try to basically write out what I want to do. So basically, even imagine it as a prompt where you try to explain your starting point to an AI, right? So you explain to it like, okay, I'm trying to do this animation that needs to have like this type of interactivity, and doesn't really talk about the visual aspect of it, right? Not how things will look, but what would be the logical structure for the interactivity, right? So basically, what needs to happen when I click here, and how I transition from this state to that state, uh, things like this. Basically, the logical structure. And over time, I sort of built up a library of different approaches that I've used, right? So I have a skill that basically helps my agent design basically a plan of how, like, what artboards should I make, uh, what transition conditions should I use, right, in order to create this framework. And then I read it, I think about it, then I say like, maybe this doesn't work. So I have a discussion. They're like, okay, maybe we can do this, or maybe we can do this, or you make a wrong assumption. So it's always a dialogue. This is what I find myself, what works really for me, right? So it's not that I just ask it a question and get the answer and that's it. It's usually a dialogue where you try to see what it says, then you understand it, and it's a back and forth until you sort of flush out this idea that in your head it works, right? And then you start building it, and then as it always happens, it doesn't go exactly the way you plan. So then you go back and try to think like, okay, so why is this not working? Or like, am I missing something? Then you end up, reading documentation again for Rive, trying to see if you can find examples on the marketplace that does something similar to see how other people do it, right? um, this is also a very important thing. Like, I pretty much every other week I go to the marketplace, and then I see all the different things people post, and the ones that you can download and open and Rive and see, like, do a remix, do that remix. And it doesn't, you don't need to actually do anything, just see what people are doing, like how it's all connected, how it works under the hood. Because the more that you see, the more ideas you yourself will have, right? Because like, what is this saying? There's this really interesting saying, but basically, you have to borrow from your peers, right? So I think, oh yeah, imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? So you need to basically see what other people post, how they do it. If they don't explain it, try to ask them. Some people don't say how they do shit. Some people are very open about how they do stuff. And then you try to find examples and then just mess around to see like how they get there. Like what's his name? There's this guy. He's like, I don't know. He's pretty famous in the Rive circle from I want to say
Oh yeah,
Poland,
I know.
Bartek. He always has crazy demos, uh, but I have no fucking idea how he does it,
I think
and
so
he
too,
doesn't want to
right?
tell
Because
anyone.
I tried texting him a couple of times, like like
Yeah, I always try to find some sort of examples of like someone who does something similar, and then to figure out like, because he does a lot of stuff where there is like, he overlays a lot of blending modes, and that's how he gets all these like crazy lows that flow into each other. uh, so yeah, it's tricky, but doesn't have to share it. But it's interesting, and but again, you'd be surprised how many people are okay with sharing. I think this is one of the really nice things about motion community. Like I've been always very surprised that like if you go to like After Effects Discord, there are people who are going to like sit and spend hours trying to help you write an expression or script or answer like stupid questions. And I took advantage of that resource quite a bit, like in my early days. And like I have a Discord channel that I started like with a bunch of friends with from School of Motion when we were in the same class, but then we sort of kept it, and it's been going on for like I don't know 5 years now. We have like maybe 500 members, and people, and it's not that it's like terribly active, but when somebody has a question, you just pop in there, drop it, somebody will answer it
Eventually.
eventually.
All right. Oh, thank you so much for actually saying that. Like, I mean, like for me too. Like, I figured that sometimes like I should just try to like like when I have like a logic that I want to try to do, I first like tell AI this is like what I'm trying to do and all that, and but there's a question there, right? That I would like to ask you, which is like I think like like for me like if I try to ask AI questions, like sometimes just sometimes like it gives you like very like vague answers, like or like very bogus answers, like you just don't know, like okay, what exactly is he trying to talk about? For instance, if you are new to scripting and you're like, okay, I have like this thing I actually want to do, or like take for instance the time where I was actually trying to build a what do you call it now? This joystick pad or whatever. Like it's just a controller for my character
Hmm.
in my game, right? You know, AI suggested some things like it was just over my head. Like I couldn't just even like like conceptualize what is actually talking about. Like felt too big for what I was doing. I was like, okay, I'm just going to like describe how I think I need to get this thing done. Right? Tell me if it's possible, and
Yeah,
tell me a way in which I can achieve the way I'm actually thinking about it. Like not necessarily like what his suggestion is. Like I don't know if you like being at that stuff, or you just simply like
absolutely. No, no, no. Absolutely. So you always get to the point where it says something very confidently. You need to do this, 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 and this, and then it's total bullshit. It just doesn't work. So the way, like, and over time, you develop sort of like a bullshit meter. You say like, okay, something is off. It just doesn't work like this. You don't know exactly what, but there is a mistake somewhere there. And then usually what I say, okay, now go to the Rive documentation website, for example, read the documentation, and then try to answer again. And then it goes and fixes itself. And the other thing, which is very, very important, as you're using AI, as you're writing any script or sort of have any workflow that you found works for you and you have it documented, like create yourself a folder, like where a library of stuff that you do. And the bigger that library is, and you use it with the AI to basically inform it of the stuff that you want, like how you want it done. You're also to basically both understand your own workflows and improve your success rate with AI, right? Because it's only as good as sort of the knowledge base that it has, and you're the best to build your own knowledge base, no one else, right? This is why, for example, like all the scripts I have a special folder where I have all the Lua scripts, and I have like and I have like all like explanations and documentation that I have the AI write. So every time I ask it to help me write a new script, okay, look through what works, and then it gets better over time doing it. Yeah, and
Yeah, so that actually makes
yeah,
sense. Like, so, of course, like, for me, like, I'm thinking, like, yeah, like, I might still have some other questions, but probably I'll just, reach out to you in your DM, so whatever. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much for every thing you said so far on this call. I find them like really like I don't know. My network is gone again because it goes every time. Like this goes and comes. I think it's gone. Hello. Yeah. Didn't.
no, no,
Yeah. Like
I
my
hear you.
my network went for a bit. So because I can see the way my network is doing like right before my eyes. It's telling me like video is paused due to problems with your network. So that's how I had to maybe pause a bit. All right. All right. So yeah, for me, like I pretty much like exhausted like all like the surface level questions that I have. There's some deeper level questions, right? Like all these libraries that you just mentioned. How do you how do you do that, and then how do you now eventually like feed them to AI and all that? Then you mentioned something, about like downloading the entire like documentation course and then feeding into Claude. That I wish
Mhm.
like if you could just show us like just like like yeah, this is precisely how
Oh, it's really easy. So first of all, you can if you're using Claude Code, right? Are you using Claude
no, I'm
Code or are
not.
you
No,
using just Claude
so for mostly like
or what?
I've not tried to do like scripting in a while. Like maybe not in a while because like I have like client projects. I'm just like I just want to finish it. Then I could get back to like experimentation. Post more on my Telegram channel and do stuff like that. So scripting, not
Hmm.
right now. So but last time I tried, I used ChatGPT Pro. Then I didn't really try to use Claude. I didn't try to use Claude because when I tried it, it was giving me like some of these answers were not really all that great, and then I brought the same answer into ChatGPT, and he really modified things well. In fact, sometimes I would have to like correct like Claude. It's like, okay, I know this thing won't work. Like, I mean, like I've been there. Like I know this particular. I know you made a mistake here. Like so why are you like trying to like so like I just switched back to ChatGPT. So I didn't. So I don't know like that there's a better way to use Claude to get things done.
So right, it creates skills. And skills literally are markdown files which have a bunch of instructions, right? Which you say like, okay, um, if I want you to do something in this particular order, use these examples, and you can inside those files you can point it to a folder on your computer, right? And say, okay, in this folder I have examples of this. In this folder I have examples of this, and use those question, right? So that's why you download the scripting course. You download I don't know. You can download Rive's official documentation. You can have your own library of files. Like if you use AI to help you make plans for layouts or plans for state machines and view models, you will have all these documents basically saved, right? So the trick is, biggest trick is usually whenever you work with AI, you iterate. So you have version one, then that didn't work. So you have next version, and next version, and next version. And in the end, you end up with lots of files. Keep all of them, and have the AI basically say, this is version one, this is version two, this is version three. So basically, you can see the progress of where, like basically where you started, where you ended up, and then of course keep sort of the final one and use AI at the end to basically, okay, based on this discussion, write out the summary of the process. What have you learned, right? And then those type of summaries will comprise your knowledge base. And the more of it you do, and you don't only need to use it for scripting, you can use it for anything. Like, I mean, literally anything, because it's all about sort of collecting your own information and feeding it back to the AI so it knows how to better answer you. That's it. It's
Mm.
really that
Okay,
simple.
so that's it. Like I really that's so important. So I would I should suppose like some people like maybe Mohammed or Michael. There was Joshua. He left us. So like I don't know if you guys have any questions for like Ilya, like
Yeah, sure.
so everybody's just.
If they have questions, I can answer them.
I
I mean,
if
ask
you
them.
don't have any question, it's fine. Anyways, but if you don't have a question, just let us know.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a question. Good Jim. I don't know it's Web 3 or something. Okay. My guy, good day. So, I basically want to ask, how do we join the Discord and stuff?
How do
Do
you
you have the
how do you
join the
The Discord for
join
Rive.
what? Sorry,
Discord about?
for Rive or
Yes,
for my
yes.
channel?
For for channel, the one you see you created 5 years ago, something like that. I was like,
I can post the invite to my channel, and to Rive, it's open.
okay. Can you please forward it to what
Barnabas.
is your name, guys? I forget. Dash. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
sure.
WhatsApp.
Like I'll
You
post
also,
it.
I
If
also.
you're on my Telegram channel, then I'll just post everything, all the different links.
Sure.
Okay, that's
Uh,
definitely.
one
Thank you.
second. Let me just. Where is this? The invite to
Yeah, Mohammed, I
server.
don't know if you have any question.
Uh,
She's the eye.
mm, okay. I'm sending it in the message here, and then you can copy it
All right,
to
let me check
Telegram if
it.
you want.
The link. All right, so then copy it. I'll send everything like cause immediately like I'm done with the chats. What I basically do is I
Yeah, but again, for Rive questions, you're probably still best off to go to Rive channel, Rive community channel. The Rive community Discord is a little bit messy, but the actual community website, the it's pretty good.
all right so yeah. So basically, that will be it. So it looks like Mohammed and that's all the questions that we are actually going to get for this call, right? So oh okay. Yeah, I was asking. Yeah, you sure you can talk, Mohammed?
Sorry, guys, I wasn't totally focused with you. I was a little bit busy. I feel like you guys talked about this point during the call. Just like I want to ask if there is something can replace the AI agent, Rive AI agent, like maybe Cloud or ChatGPT or something.
Yeah, exactly. You
If you guys talked about
absolutely.
this, I like just yeah, I will watch the recording later. Just let me know.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed a lot about this, but just to summarize, you have to build your own custom agent skill before Claude or ChatGPT or Codex or whatever to use, right? And what I found works very well is basically downloading documentation either from Rive or from scripting course and referencing it in your skill as examples of how everything works. And when you'll have like a Rive scripting agent or I don't know, Rive animation planning agent, you point them to the folders where all that lies and tell them to reference it and give it instructions on how it should do it. And you can actually use the AI to help you write those skills. They have skills that help you write skills.
I got
So
you.
use those.
Like GPT
Yeah.
can do the work.
Like I use both actually. I use both Claude and Codex, and most of the time they can one shot pretty much anything, like even very complicated stuff. And oftentimes they do better than the built-in agent.
Yeah, nice,
All
nice.
right,
Thank
so
you, thank
well,
you.
I pretty much, I think that's
Sure.
pretty much it. For everybody. Like for me, like I love these fireside chats. Enables me to pick into different people in your minds and tell us all that stuff, right? That nobody's ever asked you. All right, and so thank you very much for coming. Right, I lost my connection. I just lost my connection. Sorry, like I lost.
Okay, now you get.
I lost my connection. All right. All right. So,
Uh,
thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate. Don't worry, I'm looking forward to maybe a second feature, but
sure.
probably at that time probably the Telegram channel will be maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Then we would have just four people on the call. We'll probably have maybe 100 or you know whatever. All right, well, thank you so much. For joining that. Yeah,
Okay,
for me,
no problem.
I'll post the link to your LinkedIn. I don't know if you're on any other social media channel. I only know that you're on LinkedIn, but I don't know if you're on Twitter or any of that.
I am on Twitter and on Reddit and Discord, and yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I'm so bad with social media. I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah,
It's like you
yeah,
young
it
kids.
is what it is. I mean, for us, I don't know. Maybe by the time I grow older, maybe my kids will have
Again, guys, you grew up with
yeah,
social media, internet, so I'm from a
yeah,
very different generation.
so yeah, like my parents' generation, right? No social media.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
so amazing, having you on chat. For me, I have all the questions I have on my mind, answered. Like,
Well, again, guys, you can message me on what's it called on the community, Rive community, or on LinkedIn or somewhere. Those messages, I will answer them. The question is not the question. The problem is, I try to avoid social media like the fucking plague. I can't get through this. They can't
all right. Thank you so much. For me, it's really a good one. So when to go right now. So yeah. My regards to your kids, wife, everybody. Say me hi to them. Yeah. See you. thank you. Yeah, bye.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so
Bye.
much. Goodbye.